Forse poi mettiamoli anche sugli schermi, perché se no lo vediamo solo noi qua, è un po'... Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Farnesina. Dear friends, thank you very much for your participation today. I want to thank, first of all, my friend, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Croatia, Grlić-Radman, who is chairing the Med9, the group of the Mediterranean countries of the European Union. And we will co-chair together this very important meeting. I also welcome the Director-General of FAO, Qu Dongyu, and the Deputy Director-General Maurizio Martina. Our message today is very clear. We need to strengthen our collaboration and make the great Mediterranean region an area of peace, stability and growth. During the last ministerial meeting of the Med9 in Split, in April, with Gordan, we had the idea to organize today's discussion. We did it for a very simple reason. At this critical time, it's crucial to strengthen dialogue between the countries of the wider Mediterranean and the Middle East region. I propose to make this format permanent. Our voice must be heard loud and clear in every space, in Europe, in the G7, at the United Nations, in NATO, in IMEC. We meet at the moment of a deep crisis. The tensions in the Gulf are not a regional issue. They are a global shock. We are very worried about the effects on trade and energy prices, but we are also very worried about the impact of the crisis on food security and fertilizers. About 30% of the global trade of fertilizers pass through the Strait of Hormuz. The blockage is creating huge effects. Transport and insurance costs are increasing, putting strong pressures on global food affordability. Fertilizers prices are rising. They are essential for agriculture. All countries are affected, but we are concerned for the most fragile regions and countries, especially in Africa, like Sudan. Agriculture is crucial for the stability in the region, and this crisis could create new tensions and new migration flows. Together, we want to send a strong, coordinated political message. More cooperation and dialogue are key to address these issues that have a strong impact on our citizens. There are many important initiatives in development to address the repercussions on food security of the crisis in Hormuz. We strongly support the FAO initiative. It deserves our full attention and support. Director-General FAO will give us more details. We are proud to host FAO in Rome for 74 years and to give it full political support. FAO has been a great partner in key Italian programs like Food for Gaza and to bring humanitarian aid into the Strip and also in Sudan. Our cooperation is intense and based on a common vision: fight hunger and poverty, support rural development and the transformation of food systems around the world. We also support the initiative carried out at the United Nations in New York. Cooperation between our private sector is also crucial. We are ready to make available the know-how of our companies, for example, in smart agriculture. We look forward to receive positive news from Pakistan about the situation in Hormuz, but our priorities are clear: diversification of supply chains, investment in local production, more reliable and predictable logistic routes. A crucial precondition is peace, of course. We are working hard to promote dialogue, peace and de-escalation. As you know, I am in contact with all of you. Tomorrow I will meet in these rooms at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. He will bring him the message of this meeting. Recently I visited China, where I had important discussion with my counterparts on the importance to promote peace and dialogue. Diplomatic solution is the only way for a durable peace. Maritime security and freedom of navigation are top priorities. We are ready to do our part in Hormuz in a defensive multilateral operation when conditions allow. With this new dialogue, we also want to create stronger relations between Europe and the wider Mediterranean region. Logistic corridors are a crucial opportunity and engine of growth. Italy is strongly supporting the IMEC project, a strategic political and economic corridor, and we are giving a strong push to the Corridor 8 project. We know that where goods pass, weapons do not pass. This is important. I would like also to stress the strong political importance of cooperation on water management in the Mediterranean. It is crucial for our security and our growth. After the summer, I will host in Rome the Euro-Mediterranean Water Forum and the second ministerial meeting of the Union for Mediterranean on Water. A stronger partnership on education is also key. We are in the first line with Croatia to support a new European project for a Mediterranean university. Conclusion, count on the Italian government. Italy is in the first line, not just as a government, but also with our companies to build bridges of dialogue and cooperation for peace, prosperity and growth. The Middle East and the Mediterranean region is facing great challenges. No country can face it alone. But together we can reduce risks, protect supply chains and strengthen stability. We have both the responsibility and the capacity to act together to address this situation. Now, I leave the floor to our co-chair, my friend Grlić-Radman, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Croatia. Thank you.
Grazie mille, caro amico, my dear friend Antonio, and thank you so much for having this genuine idea and for organizing this very, very important conference here in Rome today. Distinguished ministers and representatives of Med9, the Arab League, Western Balkans countries, as well as international organizations, namely the director of FAO and the deputy director as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, and as the current holder of the Med9 presidency, it's my great pleasure to co-chair today's meeting together with my dear colleague, Italian Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Antonio Tajani, whom I would like to thank for convening us at a critical moment. What we are witnessing in the Middle East is not a distant crisis nor a regional concern alone. It's a direct geopolitical shock to Europe, increasingly threatening our stability, economic security, and the livelihoods of our citizens. I am also very pleased that today's meeting builds on our Med9 discussions last month in Split, just a month ago, where we exchanged views on security and resilience in the Mediterranean and reaffirmed our determination to strengthen cooperation and the role of Med9 in shaping EU policies towards the region. The wider Mediterranean region is particularly vulnerable to the current crisis in the Middle East. It is therefore especially important that we are joined today by ministers and representatives from Arab League countries as well as from the Western Balkans, our immediate neighborhood, given their close economic, geographic and security ties to the Mediterranean and their shared exposure to the challenges we are addressing. The central issue before us today is food security, which must be treated as a strategic security priority with direct implications for stability, resilience and migration pressures. Disruptions caused by the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, particularly to fertilizer supply chains, are already driving up prices, causing shortages, weakening production, and increasing the risk of instability and migration pressures. This is not just an economic issue, it's a question of political stability in our wider neighborhood and ultimately within the European Union itself. These are challenges that no country can tackle alone. Across the wider Mediterranean region, we must work together to identify the most effective solutions to mitigate this situation. We need coordination, solidarity, and decisive action. The role of international organizations is equally vital, and I am pleased that representatives of the FAO, the United Nations and Gulf Cooperation Council and the Arab League are with us today. Fragmentation is not an option. Europe must act with unity, speed, and strategic clarity. Med9 has a responsibility to lead in shaping a stronger, more coordinated EU response towards the Mediterranean and the Middle East. And I use this opportunity to express my gratitude to my dear colleague and friend Antonio Tajani by sending the deputy and Maria Tripodi on our important and historical 3Cs initiative in summit in Dubrovnik just a week ago, where we summoned almost 1,600 participants worldwide from all the countries of the world. And you mentioned also IMEC. IMEC is very important. So the 3Cs initiative region, this platform, could connect this connection between the Europe and India, and first of all, the South Asia. I think the IMEC and Corridor 8, as you mentioned, just we can support it and work on that together. It is important that today we move beyond discussion and begin working toward concrete solutions. While we all seek a peaceful and diplomatic solution to the crisis and hope it will come soon, we must, in the meantime, address urgent challenges such as the one before us today. Initiatives are already underway to secure safe passage for fertilizers and other essential goods through the Strait of Hormuz. These efforts deserve our full support and coordinated action to ensure their success. We must support concrete measures to secure supply chains and ensure the safe passage of essential goods. At the same time, we must reinforce a partnership with the Arab world and the Western Balkans as part of a broader, coherent geopolitical approach. Let us send a clear message that we will not remain reactive. We will act together to protect our interests, strengthen our resilience, and uphold stability in our region. Allow me to conclude by wishing us all a productive discussion today and continuing cooperation in the future to safeguard national, regional, and global food security, an essential foundation for our overall global stability. Thank you so much. Grazie mille.
Thank you very much, Gordan. I now have the pleasure to give the floor to the FAO Director-General Qu Dongyu. Please.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Vice Premier Minister Tajani of Italy, also Minister of Croatia, distinguished ministers, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning from Rome. Roma is a city that has long symbolized dialogue, inclusion, sympathy, resilience, and collaboration. Today's meeting brings together leaders of the Med9++ countries and recognize that the challenges facing the Mediterranean cannot be addressed by any one country alone. The challenge demands the coordinated, coherent, comprehensive, and forward-looking political response. Let me begin by expressing FAO deep gratitude to Italy. Our host country is not only a generous partner, but also strategic ally in advancing our shared priorities and build a more food secure world. Since we moved to Italy headquarters, FAO headquarters moved to Italy in 1951, so almost 75 years ago. We started the host by America in 1945. FAO is unique because I take this advantage, say one sentence, because a lot of ministers from maybe you didn't understand what's the nature of the FAO. FAO is the first UN agency established during World War II. And founding members, 42 founding members, And then we have one country, one vote. Any member can recommend a candidate, include the host country. That's unique. So they can present the candidate to elect. Once who get the 50% plus one, they will become the DG. So one country, one vote. It's not like other agencies have a different mechanism. Second, FAO we have our own independent constitution and the basic text. This makes FAO is a more professional, focus our own mandate. That's why I really appreciate the Tajani together with the Minister of the Caribbean and to host this special meeting, deal with the global food security. As Minister Gordan said, it's food security, it was considered just a food and basic requirement, but now it should be strategic and political commitment. Otherwise, you create a real security problem, social, economic environment. We meet at the moment of profound strain. The heightened tension and the growing instability in the Middle East and the wider Mediterranean are generating impact that extend far beyond the region. This is not only a geopolitical crisis, but also the disruption at the core of the global agri-food system. And it is already affecting how food is produced, transported, and accessed across the world. At the center of this crisis lies the Strait of the Hormuz, a narrow maritime corridor with a global importance. I said in English when I joined the SG's meeting, I said, we learn in the bottleneck. Now Hormuz Strait is a bottleneck, yeah, for this international logistics and supply chain. And the normal conditions create a substantial share of the world's energy and fertilizer flows, including roughly 1/3 of traded crude oil, 1/5 of the liquefied nitrogen LNGs, half of the sulfur, and up to 30% of international trade fertilizers, and include also others like raw materials for fertilizer. So that's even not calculated exactly. This crisis is particularly concerning more than not only due to the scale of the shock, but due to the timing. Agriculture operates within a crop calendar that cannot be postponed. Meeting can contribute, other activities can postpone, but the crop calendar cannot be postponed. Farmers cannot delay the planting. Fertilizer must be applied at a specific moment in the crop life cycle. If they don't arrive on time, yields are reduced, regardless of what happens later. We are already within those critical windows. Across the North Hemisphere, wheat fertilization has taken place. Rice planting in Asia is beginning. Maize application windows in the Americas are closing. A delay of even a few days or weeks forces farmers to reduce fertilizer use or ban the application together. This impact we can see today and are not limited to the current prices. They are transmitted forward into the next harvest. Low fertilizer use this season can translate into low yield at the end of season. Tightening food supplies into last half of the 2026 and in 2027. The effects do not stop there. Fertilizers are also essential for seed production. When the fertilizer becomes scarce or expensive, seed producers reduce output and quality decline. That will be amplified 20 to 100 times loss if we didn't have the high quality seeds. This disrupts the multiplication cycles that create additional constraints for future planting seasons. This is how disruption in one region becomes a global food security concern. We are all living together on this small planet. What affects one affects all. And the impacts are not evenly distributed. import-dependent countries in Africa, Asia, and a part of the Middle East, and are particularly exposed. Many rely heavily on fertilizers sourced from the Gulf, while they're also facing high food import bills and limited physical space. At the same time, several countries in the region are already experiencing acute food insecurity, driven by conflict, economic fragility, and climate shocks. For these countries, the current crisis is an additional layer of the pressure on already fragile systems, as saying Chinese proverb, added frost on the top of the heavy snow. That's a double loss. For Mediterranean countries, including those represented in the MED 9+, implications are both direct and indirect. The high cost you are experiencing translated into high food costs and growing the pressure on the household. No country is insulated, and no country can address the challenge alone. We need the coordinated response that operates across 3 times horizon. First, in the immediate term, the priority must be keep supply chain functioning. That means facilitate alternative trade routes, avoid export restrictions, supporting farmers in accessing all the agricultural input, and protect the humanitarian supply chains. Second, in the medium term, the focus must shift to managing risk. Countries need to diversify their resources of fertilizer, energy, and strengthen regional coordination, support the most vulnerable economies. And third, in the long run and term, we need the structural transformation. We must increase the political commitment on agri-food systems and design alternatives of the concentrated supply routes and fossil fuel-based input. Investment in agri-food systems, renewable energy, and efficiency of the fertilizer solutions, including green ammonia, will be critical. At the same time, improving storage, logistics, and strategic reserves will strengthen resilience to future shocks. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on 28 April, we had a special session of the FAO Council to discuss the implications for global food security and agriculture rising from the disruption of the supply chain in the Gulf region. The Council was unanimously in stating the conflict and the instability are prerequisites for food security, and that the right to food is the basic human rights. The Council affirmed that if we continue to provide technical analysis, convening power, and on-the-ground partnerships to ensure that national and regional policies are informed by evidence and by the voice of the most affected and most vulnerable countries. The MED 9+ platform aligns with the FAO mandate and our strategic framework guided by our vision of the 4 betters: better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life, leaving no one behind. Your proposal to establish a dedicated platform for the countries most directly affected would enhance the fertilizer solutions and food security as pillars of the region and global stability. This crisis is a test of our collective ability to act before the full impact materialize. Let this Roma meeting be remembered not for the dangers we discussed, but for the reliable platform we build in this uncertainty world. Let the Mediterranean, a sea of Asian civilization and modern challenges, become a sea of peace, share the future together by multilateral collaboration. As Professor Thomas Friedman stated recently, that a set of planetary scale challenges has fused our fate together. Our fates are now fused. FAO is your partner in this journey. I thank you. Thank you for your invitation.
Thank you very much, Director. We can now open the round table. I look forward.